having me.
And what I would like to do is pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've heard there's a lot of cool things about you that actually tie in with what we do here at the Abuse and Rape Crisis Shelter Violence Free Coalition. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me. When you mentioned that you do some work here with the shelter, I was really excited. I think it's great. It's great work, and women especially, but men too, need a safe place to go if there's something happening in their lives and they feel like they just need assistance within that. So I, as Molly said, I am Erin Tillman, otherwise known as the Dating Advice Girl. So for almost 10 years now, I've been a dating coach in Los Angeles. Grew up in Springboro. I've been in Los Angeles for 13 years. And basically what I do is I help to empower singles in the dating process. So that basically means I do one-on-one coaching with singles who feel like they're maybe just a little bit lost, and with all this technology and dating apps and dating websites and things, people feel like they don't really know how to grasp. There's no class for that.
Right.
We're all just kind of like feeling it out as we go, and what's this, and Tinder and OkCupid and Match.com, it's all these things. So I help navigate those things. The other thing that has come up in the last few years for me professionally as well is that I found a really, I guess I should say that I've always been aware of consent on some level in my adulthood, but it's become very, very important to me lately professionally. And with all the things going on right now, just talking about, just like sexual assaults on college campuses, locker room talk, and all these things.
Right.
I'm really happy that we're actually talking more about these things, because they all are things that we probably should talk about before, and that could be a preventative thing, so that people aren't afraid to, or seeking assistance to flee a situation and those kind of things. If we can educate all genders, both genders, early on, then we could possibly avoid a lot of things that happen later. But that's what I do, and I just feel like I'm not sure why we don't teach more of this, especially at a younger age. It's so important, and it's the basis for everything. It's the basis for even boundaries with friends, boundaries with family, boundaries with colleagues. It's all very important. So.
Okay,
that was a lot. Sorry, that was a lot.
That is a lot, but and you know what? I'm sure that you could give us a wealth more of information. Let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Back up a little bit, and let's look at this month. This is actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes.
As you notice, we have purple on.
Yes.
Purple's been the color this month.
Yes.
The Abuse and Rape Crisis Shelter held a wonderful gala last week to raise money for the shelter and the services we offered. Jane Kahn, our director here, actually shared that in her last grant report she had to produce for the previous 3 months, we had 19 women and children who had to be turned away for shelter services because we're limited to a capacity of 14 beds.
Sure, absolutely.
And we heard from Larry Sims the other night in our Darkness to Light celebration of the lives of those in Warren County that have been lost to domestic violence, that in 2015, law officers had to report to a total of a little over 2,000 domestic violence incidents, and just now in 2016, before this year is up, they've already responded to 1,400.
Wow.
And so, in less than 2 years, we've had 3,400 plus incidents of domestic violence calls. And I think about what you do with teaching people about making wise choices with dating. And I can't help but think that there's a tie-in to starting out right with dating and getting to the point that maybe we can prevent some of the domestic violence. So what are some things you tell your clients or your crowds, your groups, your students to look for, and some guidelines to follow to set themselves up for healthy situations and relationships?
Oh gosh, first of all, my first thought is there's not enough time to talk about all this because there's so many things to talk about, but this is really great. Red flags. For me, basic respect. It's so funny because, even just dating myself dating and being single, it's funny because when guys know what I do, they're very on their guard and like extra respectful because they know I know a lot of things, and I'm probably not, they assume correctly I'm not gonna tolerate certain things. So I guess it becomes, in terms of dating in the early months, which is what I focus on. I focus on early dating relationships with singles and how to find potential partners and that kind of thing. So red flags for me, I had a client actually who was telling me they met someone, they connected with someone on an online dating site, and the person that they connected with is a woman. She connected with a man, and he was kind of aggressive with her in terms of like the day and time that they met and location and things. And I said, well, that's a huge red flag. Because really, initially, someone should be on their best behavior when you've met them, whether it be out at a bar, a coffee shop, online, or whatever. It shouldn't be this battle of, well, I want it my way and you have to come to me and stuff. And that's what was happening with this female client of mine. And I said, well, that's a red flag. So anytime someone isn't flexible even on those minor things, like that's a massive red flag. Like I said, someone should be putting their best foot forward and really meeting you halfway at the least, and not being this argument or making you feel uncomfortable. So little things like that, if someone, we feel like someone's belittling you, or if someone's prejudging you and making you feel uncomfortable about your lifestyle, about the way you carry yourself, your personality, your assertiveness, any of that, that's a huge red flag. Because again, in the early parts of dating, that's when people are supposed to be like really accommodating and showing their best selves. So if that's not happening, that's a huge red flag. The other thing, Los Angeles is different than this part of the country or the Midwest or Warren County in certain ways, but there's a lot of similar things that happen there that happen here just based on friends and clients' stories and things. I think that a lot of times because we're human beings, we get lonely or we want a partner and all these things. So sometimes I think we'll rush through certain steps because it's like, oh, this person, I want them to be this thing for me and I see this future, and it's about, we're not necessarily staying in the present tense and really getting to know someone. It's more of that future thing of that person or seeing them as my future husband or wife. So I just want to get to the end goal, so I'm kind of not paying as much attention to the up close present things. That's really important, to pay attention to those things and not rush into anything. Like there's no reason to rush in and move in with someone. I mean, listen, everyone has their own time frames, but for me, what I tell my clients is definitely not before 6 months to a year. You're still getting to know someone in a year's time frame. So that's when you learn all the quirks. That's when people start to let their barriers down and you start to get to know, if they're, maybe have a bit of a temper, or are they really okay with who you are? Are they gonna feel threatened or, what's the word? Threatened, or are we gonna feel sort of intimidated? But that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, because I mean, someone like me, I am entrepreneurial, and you too. You're very confident. I am too. And some men would be intimidated by that. So I choose, and I'm sure you've chosen in the past, not to date those men because those men would not be a good fit. So it's about knowing yourself as well and knowing what's okay for you and what's going to make you feel happiest. Because really, at the minimum level of all of this, it's about happiness. So if you're not feeling happy and someone's not making you feel happy or bringing this happy feeling around you, it's probably time. Again, I deal with the early relationship stages. It's very different and complicated as it gets, into marriage and longer term relationships. But those things are so important. It's really important to assess your level of happiness with someone, and are you letting go of some of your happiness just for this idyllic, possibly false relationship?